It's also widely agreed he is not just the most charming man in town, but thanks to, as we all know here tonight, his sartorial mastery, the best dressed. So it's a special pleasure to welcome George tonight for a conversation about success and style and substance. So George, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I feel like with you, George, you came out of your mother's womb probably fully dressed with the Cleverly shoes ready to go.
My mother was this Southern belle who was straight out of Scarlett O'Hara. And my father was an orchestra leader. He'd gone to Dartmouth. He was a solid guy. But my mother married a lot because she underneath, it took me a long time to figure this out, but my mother wanted more than life to be a movie star. And that's all she thought about. So my older brother, my mother, and I went across country to Hollywood, and my mother had a future husband in every town we stopped. Because it meant a lot to my mother, it somehow meant a lot to me. And I thought, it's not a big deal about being a movie actor. The problem is they wanted it too much. So I thought, when I went back, I went out and I realized you got to look like you don't need it. This agent took us to MGM, and it was a cattle call. And they said they're going to give you a $300 a week contract if you guys convince them that you're star material. So I just rented a Rolls Royce for the day, $100. It was a 1939 Sedanka DeVille town car with a chauffeur's section. I found a guy who was a doorman, and he had a lot of braid on. I said, would you drive the car? He sat in the open car, pulled up in front of the studio, and I had him under the casting director's window. And they had 10 of us, and they walked in. They said, well, we're looking for someone. You know, we put you on the car, we'll teach you how to talk and how to dress and what to do and everything. And I kept going to the window, and I had the car parked under the window so that I could look like I had better things to do. And I kept saying, I'll be right down. I'll be right down. He said, what are you doing? I said, Mummy's car's downstairs. Mummy's car? Jesus, that's a Rolls Royce. I said, yes, Mummy's car. The next thing I did is I turned around, shook hands with all the guys, and I walked out and said, this is not for me. I want to be in finance. I want to be in something. Walked out, and I promise this is a true story. I was the only one out of the 10 guys to get a contract. I turned it down 3 times, and I got 1,000 instead of 300. That's the psychology of Hollywood.
Did you come to discover your style, or was it always innate, as we might say?
I do love the details in life, and I have learned to appreciate them. God is in the details, in my opinion. Those are the things that this world has forgotten. And being in Hollywood and in making movies, it was either good or it's bad. There's no in between. It's that way with acting, but it also is in your suiting. And in those days, there was someone that did the tie, the shoe, the hat, everything was given to an expert. I never knew anything about acting. I still don't. But what was amazing about it was that they were so incredibly aware of the surface. I think you have to know the rules first before you break them. That's the thing about Paolo, it's so amazing. He's very young, but my God, your knowledge of detail and your this information you have, it's a lost art. People don't know it.
How did you two characters hook up?
George and I met in Palm Beach at the Colony about 3 or 4 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
And we started talking about all the things that we have in common, and I knew his whole history in dressing, all the tailors he had been to already, and I had an archive that I created digitally of George's clothes that I liked. I have kind of my own Dropbox file of men who I find as inspiration. And we thought about doing a blazer. That's what we did. We did a double-breasted blazer, a pair of cream trousers to go with it. And George really didn't have to say much. I kind of knew exactly what he wanted. George, however, can tell me how he wants the lapel to be padded, how he wants the tailor to hold the tension of the needle to get it to roll the way he wants. There's only one other customer who can do that. that was an experience of a lifetime. I've made clothes for a lot of interesting people, but there's nothing like this relationship. Working with George is just fun because, I mean, dressing a guy who has been your icon your entire life, it's a very humbling experience.
We have very few pleasures, men, you know, watches and clothes and cars, and those are the things that we delight in. I've had those little pleasures in my life that are fun, and I've known a few beautiful, wonderful women. It's made my life really enriched, and it's given me a sense of style. They call it sprezzatura.
What I have to say about George's style is how, even though he's always elegant and very formal looking, I mean, that's how we think of George, I think he kind of takes the stuffing out of the suit, and he makes it relaxed, and he makes it his own. And I think that's why so many of us in this room look up to him.
At 85, I adore my life. Okay, let's have a drink.